We have a very special guest in studio today. He is an insurance broker at the Insurance Store Inc., the host of the Journey of a Christian Dad podcast, The Great and Powerful, Dan Luigs. Welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks so much for having me, guys.
Thanks for being on with us.
Yeah.
Maybe we should have even changed the intro because you said insurance broker, Insurance Store Inc. And
Yeah.
the guys that were listening to me go, oh gosh, this is going to be boring.
You're just going to talk about insurance the whole time?
Yeah, so let's address that concern straight out.
Might not be the most exciting thing.
Yeah,
but the most necessary thing.
No, we'll have fun. We'll have fun, guys.
Yeah, I'm excited.
No, absolutely.
We'll stick away from the boring stuff.
Well, we were just talking. So you have your own podcast, The Journey of a Christian Dad. How did you get started doing that?
So I was meeting with a mentor of mine, and he's like, hey, what are you going to do? And I'm like, well, I'll tell you what I'm not going to do. I'm not going to start a podcast. Well, that night I went away to a retreat, and we were getting some time to pray, away from the group. And I was like, hey, God, you want to talk about anything? And he goes, yeah, your podcast. I'm like, wait, you were there earlier today with us. Like, that's not happening.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, I was there. You're right. So anyway, about your podcast, I'm like, all right, tell me about it.
Yeah.
And that was how it got started.
That was it. Really?
That was it.
It's awesome.
Wow. And you said you've been doing it for 4 years?
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yep.
Wow. And how frequently are you doing them?
I would get about every other week.
Every other week?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's very awesome.
Got about
man.
150 episodes out there.
Nice.
That's great, man.
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
Congratulations.
Good for you. It's fantastic.
We know it's not easy.
No.
Do you have your own production company, or are you doing it all yourself?
So I do have a producer.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
producer, and I got a video person.
Yeah, I mean, you have to. We couldn't. We've said it multiple times. If we didn't have help with this, there's not a chance we would have made it past 10 episodes.
Yeah, I don't even know if we've made it that far.
Yeah, I mean, just it's just a time thing.
If I didn't have to do my own show notes, I'd release one a week,
Yeah.
one every other day, like whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah. Since I got to do the show notes, that tends to slow my whole process down.
Oh, really?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, luckily we don't like. We've got Murph, and he's a godsend. He does all of it for us. I mean, we send it over to him, and he edits it up. He gets everything ready, posts it, manages our social for the page.
Yeah. Post all the clips.
Everything.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
There's just not a chance we would have. I mean, it's just so time consuming, and I mean, and people, there's definitely a lot of skill involved. Like, it's not an easy. You're not like you can just figure it out right away. I mean, there would be a large learning curve if if one of us wanted to spend the time doing it. We would be spending how many hours, especially at the beginning, trying to just figure out the software. Like, no.
Yeah, 100%. So I
don't
started digging down that rabbit hole since I was forced to do something I didn't want to do, basically.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, I'm having trouble because this is going to take way too long researching and figuring it out. So I started looking for people that knew what they were doing. And I finally found a guy, and he's like, pay me and I'll teach you how to do it. Well, he started teaching me 10 levels deep, like all the way how to do it. Finally, I'm like, hey, you got to quit teaching me like the 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th. I don't care about any of that.
Yeah.
And he's doing it like side by side with me as I'm doing it.
Right.
He goes, well, what'd you hire me for? I go, I just need to understand the first 2 or 3 steps of each of the different things that need to be done so that when I hire people to do this for me, I can talk to them.
Yeah.
Like right now, when people says, oh, I'll do the sound for you and I'll do all this stuff, I don't understand what they're talking about. I'm like, help me just get the hang of this. And he goes like, oh, well, I'll just do all that stuff for you. And so he did like the first 50 episodes for free because he liked the content.
That's awesome.
That's great. That's awesome. Wow.
And so what is yours? What is it about? Tell us a little bit more about your podcast.
Yeah, so it sounds like my podcast is somewhat similar to yours.
Mm-hmm.
I bring some guys on, interview them. Often we talk about maybe a struggle that they've had, or recently we had Emerson Eggerichs on, or Dr. Emerson Eggerichs. He wrote Love and Respect. So it seems like the challenges guys have, you addressed being alone, or, walking through something nobody else has ever walked through it. So that's definitely something that we work through. Marriage. So we all do these things that look wonderful to the outside world, but we come home, and if we're not taking care of things there, the outside world stuff all fades away. And then
I know that firsthand.
Yeah. Well, I didn't know that, but yeah. So, and then away from that, a thing that's even more concerning for guys is their relationship with Christ. So some guys have trouble stepping into that, and we talk about those things as well. So it's
Also one of those guys.
yeah.
No,
There we go. We're
Yeah.
Yeah, perfect.
sorry, Zach.
No, hey, you're
that's
good. I definitely fall in line more with the latter there.
So it's about leading your family, and leading at work. So leading in each of the different ways, and then especially being the spiritual leader of your household.
awesome.
No, it sounds like I'm going to have to start diving into that. And I got a pretty good rotation of what I listen to. Part of my morning routine is, waking up and putting a podcast on and then getting some chores done, getting a workout in, or like a little mini like walk or row or whatever, just to get the body moving.
Yeah,
while
100%.
listening to a podcast. So I've got the Chris Williamson, every once in a while Joe Rogan, and then Alex Hormozy. I'll mix
Right,
those guys
yeah,
in, but
yeah.
always looking for new ones. So
Yeah,
especially something that's going to help me along with that, because that's that journey, because I'm still relatively new in it. So
yeah. Well, welcome.
Thanks.
And that's kind of why we titled it "The Journey of a Christian Dad," was because no matter where you're at, you're always on the journey.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, that's just how we are with life. I mean, you never have it figured out, no matter what it is. I mean, you're never going to figure out everything. You're never going to be the master of everything. There's always going to be some area, some part that you're lacking, or we're always constantly improving, like something we say in here a lot of, is you're like a tree. If you're not growing, you're dying.
Yeah, yep,
And,
100%.
it's just how it is. But you went, in your questionnaire, you said, how you went from a very high income to basically no income when your wife was pregnant. What was that situation like?
So I knew,
And this was before you got into insurance, I guess, right?
yeah, before I got into, well, that was the big
The
transition.
big transition.
So
Yeah. So let's hear about that story.
I'd been sales and management, and the field I was in, kind of retail. So we did electronics and furniture and appliances, and I had a sales team of 20 that I managed, and a floor crew and different things, which was great. Housing crisis happened, internet happened, TVs went from 300 pounds to 100 pounds, and they suddenly were shippable.
Yeah.
You no longer needed a local company and a local delivery crew to take care of business.
I never thought about the weight being
Yeah.
a thing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy now when you how cheaply you can buy a TV now. I mean, you can go buy what was it? This is a 55-inch and you got it for what, like $300 or no, something like that. Like,
Yeah, it's like Amazon Prime Day or something like that.
Yeah,
Or something
yeah,
like we
it's
needed.
unbelievable.
Like we had
Yeah,
another
new
TV in
TV.
here that I sell houses. So, there was someone who was going to leave this one in the house, and I just like grabbed it one day, and then it sat in the corner of my basement for however long. And then we had this, I was like, oh yeah, perfect. I'll throw a TV in the room,
Yeah,
and,
right.
and then it just one day we just went in here and just wouldn't turn on anymore. And I was like, oh, bummer. Our TV doesn't work. And Pat's like, oh, I'll get a new one. So yeah, we've grown accustomed to having a giant TV right next to our table. But anyway, sorry.
yes,
to go back into
no.
TVs,
Yeah,
but that is crazy now, just how expensive or how cheap they are. Yeah.
the way the world happens and changes, and it can be so quickly, and you can work your way right out of a job, or the world can pivot you some other direction. And that was kind of what happened to me. I didn't figure I was going to be in that field forever, but I also didn't know what the next step was. And for years, I'd prayed for a mentor to show up and help guide me. I thought I'd found one here and there, and never really happened. And I got into the insurance world because a buddy of mine got into it, and eventually they recruited me in. And I was working at a captive company, so a company that they got one flavor, and that's the only flavor. So if that's good
It's
for
like
your
a
customers,
State Farm or American Family.
something like
Yeah.
that. Yeah. And then they changed the rules by a lot, changed pretty much everything, negative for me and negative for customers, which meant negative for me staying with the company long term.
Mhm.
So I went and became an independent broker. Happened on a donut Sunday. I knew I was leaving, knew I was going to be independent, thought I had a plan that was going to cost me money, and probably would have failed or wouldn't have had the success that I had. And donut Sunday, guy that owned an independent brokerage, was sitting at the table right next to me. Like, hey man, all of our buddies have been telling me I need to talk to you, but you haven't been around for a while. Turns out he was in the hospital. That's why he wasn't around for a while.
Mhm.
But on Monday, I was going to sign a contract. That was a Sunday. I'm like, hey, tomorrow I'm doing this thing. He's like, hey, seem like we could connect. How about you don't make your decision tomorrow? How about you delay it a little bit and come to the shop and learn a little bit more? And next thing you know, we ended up being able to
Work it out.
work together. Yeah.
Wow.
It's
Yeah.
awesome. It's amazing how that
crazy.
works.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So
Especially the day before.
Right.
the day
You know,
before,
whew,
yes,
it was meant to be,
yes.
you know?
Yeah, it was wild. With him being hospitalized and stuff, his wife went out to go get the car. I'm like, cool, he's by himself. I'll
Yeah, go
jump up
grab
and say
him.
hi to
Yeah.
him. Yeah, yeah. And he's like, I go, hey, do you got a second? Can I ask you a couple questions? Nope, I sure don't. I said, well, my guess is you got to get to the car as quick as you can. Your wife, he goes, that's right. I go, well, in that case, would it be okay if I just walked with you to the car? He says, well, yeah, I don't see anything wrong with that. I guess so. So when you're in sales, you got to,
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh, yeah.
Create your
so
opportunities.
overcame that one. And as we were walking, he says, can I ask you some questions now? I said, well, that's on you.
Mhm.
I agreed I'd get you to the car as fast as possible.
Right.
He says, well, I got some questions. She can wait. And then, so got the invite and things worked out good ever since.
Wow.
It's
It's
awesome.
incredible.
It really was.
Great
Yeah,
story.
It really was. So, my wife was pregnant, commission only job. You start out with, salary of nothing.
Yep. I mean, I'm familiar.
Yeah. Real estate, same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, real estate, same thing. So, put in just a bunch of hard work. Phone call after phone call after phone call, meeting after meeting after meeting. And about a year and a half in, I thought, this is working out. Like, this can be the long-term career. On one hand, I knew I wouldn't fail anyway.
Yeah. You gotta have that kind of mentality.
My business partner says, hey, well, what if it doesn't work out? And I said, well, it's not an option.
Right. It's gotta work out. I have no other option.
Yeah. He's like, a while later, he's like, hey, why do you work so hard? Why? I'm like, 'cause this is it.
Yeah, there's no other. I don't have
Uh,
anything else.
No,
Yeah.
this is the one that's going to work.
I got a pregnant wife at home, and this is how I'm putting food on the table. Like,
Yeah,
yeah.
100%. Yeah. Yeah. We talked about it being boring earlier. I was
Yeah.
like, I got to figure out a way to make this job not boring. And
Right.
Not about sitting at a desk, and now I get to do stuff like we are today.
Yeah. It's exciting, right?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So
Awesome.
lots of public speaking events, lots of events outside of the office, and get to meet all kinds of different people. It's been a great career.
That's awesome.
It's awesome. And it seems like you've turned it into a way to kind of spread the word and all that too. So, I mean, you talk about in the questionnaire, like God's timing and versus your timing. How do you handle that patience, without it becoming a fear waiting on God's timing versus trying to figure out your timing?
Yeah. So that one's one that we can struggle with constantly. So first thing is just recognizing when it's me creating my own anxiety and me trying to force something to happen so we can control what we can control, and then the rest God controls. And there are a number of different times I remember just being so driven on accomplishing something or doing something or affecting someone in some way that, the Red Sea parts. And,
Mhm.
One time in particular, I was leaving church. My wife wasn't with me. She hadn't come to church with me. And I saw the pastor of the church, 4,500 family church. He's all by himself immediately after church service. And I thought, that's so weird how he's right out front. Nobody's around and he's all by himself. I'm like, hey, I got something for you. He's like, yeah, what is it? I'm like, I've been praying and my wife ain't come to church with me. He goes, okay, and? I said, let me ask you some questions. Are you praying? Are you coming to church every week? Are you got any major sin in your life? Are you telling your wife that she needs to come to church with you all the time? Good on the sinning. We're good on the prayer. We're good on the, he goes, scratch the Sunday question because I see you here every Sunday. He goes, what about that last one though? Are you telling her to come to church? Are you? I said, no, I'm not doing that. He goes, good job.
Mm.
I go, okay. And he goes, all right, so tell me again the problem. Like, I'm not understanding the problem. I go, I'm done. Like, this is my time limit. Like, and he goes, okay, so your time limit, got it.
Mm.
I'm looking at him. I go, oh. And he looks up. He says, so you're doing this on your time? I said, yeah, thanks.
Mhm.
And he goes, anything else? I go, let me ask you a clarifying question. He says, yeah. I said, can I just skip out of here happy as a lark and just get rid of this burden that I've got? Yeah, 100%. Just keep doing what you're doing. This one's not yours to control. It's not on your time. It's on God's time. And he'll move when it's time to move. The following Saturday, my wife says, "Hey, what time's church tomorrow?"
Wow.
So 6 days later, unprompted by me,
Yeah.
I didn't do anything that week to
To like instigate it.
yeah, I didn't say, "Hey, I talked to
Man.
the pastor." Nothing. It
Yeah.
just happened out of nowhere. And she's been, to church with me every week since.
Wow. That's awesome. How long ago was that?
That's been 12 years ago.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, yeah. We
Wow.
go to church on vacation and everything else,
Wow. That's awesome.
which a lot of people think is bizarre, but I'm like, "Oh, it's like super cool to see how."
See other communities and see
Yeah.
other people do it.
Yeah, yeah, we'll be
Sure.
down, Mexico or Puerto Rico or Dominican Republic or somewhere. And
Go somewhere where it's in Spanish or something. Yeah.
yeah. So we were at a Spanish mass, and they clearly saw that I probably wasn't a native Spanish speaker.
Really?
And some guy who was says, "Hey, will you?" And I didn't understand what he was talking about. I'm like, "I think he wants me to like read to the congregation."
Oh,
And
in English.
sure, yeah. So
Cool.
when it was time to read the gospel, I got to go up and read the gospel in front of it. And I was like, "This is the coolest thing."
Yeah. That's very cool.
And on that same vacation, I saw this dad. He stares at me across the resort, and then he charges at me. And I think, man, we're going to throw down.
Yeah. Oh, boy.
And he gets within about 10 feet, and then he changes his posture. His shoulders droop, a big smile on his face. He goes, "Thank you so much, the way you did the readings. And my family just absolutely loved that. And like, that's been the best part of our vacation." I was
Wow.
like, wow, that's wild, because
Yeah.
me being in that role was like the best part of my vacation.
Wow.
And whatever the readings were that day, like I wanted to cry as I was up there reading them, just so impactful. It was great. But,
Yeah.
you don't plan on that happening when you go on vacation.
No, you just like, I'm going to go to the mass, Yeah. Wow. It's crazy, man.
And how long have you been on this journey?
So it's been about 15 years.
Okay.
So yeah, I went to a men's group at church, and it said something about being the spiritual leader of your family. And I said, "All right, turn the page. Let's move on to the next chapter."
Yeah.
And they stayed on that chapter.
Okay.
And there was a stat they had. It said something like 8 to 12% of kids will go to church on their own if parents don't go to church. So after they get out of high school. So once they're the one making the choice of go to church or don't,
Yeah.
8 to 12. 8 to 12 will go. And then it says if mom's the reason why the family goes to church, is like 12 to 16%. And I heard that, and I was like, man, this is kind of junk.
Yeah.
Because, of course, dads are going to be 16 to 20% or
Mhm.
some minor difference. There's a trend here. And instead they said 88 to 92% of kids will go to church on their own after high school if dad's the reason why he goes to high school or goes to church.
Oh,
Wow, that's a big jump.
that's a huge jump. 88 to 90.
88 to 92.
Wow.
Wow, that is crazy. I would have not guessed that at all.
I would have not guessed that at all
No.
either. And since that time, since I heard that stat, I, have observed other ways of measuring things and hear other people talk. And somebody said if dad's engaged at church service, so if he's paying attention and he's plugged in and, he's not warming a pew, if he's there, if he's present, like that makes a massive impact. And one of the ways they measured it was if dad sings. I know not all guys sing, however, like that is a pretty good way to measure whether somebody's paying attention or not, whether somebody's
Whether
willing
you're
to be
engaged.
willing to be engaged in it and everything. I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. So that really changed a huge thing for me. And it's funny, when you guys invited me on, I was like, do I even tell them that I have a podcast? Like, they might think, we don't want this guy. He might talk about God.
No, I mean, but that's so.
And then we meet at the Faith Driven Entrepreneur event
Yeah.
here in St. Louis. And
Yeah.
I'm like, I guess it's all right that I have a podcast.
Yeah.
Well, it's something, I would say I am getting back into. I definitely I fell into that, 10 to 12% or whatever it is. So after high school, I never, have not really gone to church or anything. And, having a few kids now. And I'm like, okay, well, I guess it's we really need to kind of get back into the church and into our faith. And we need to start raising them and, in the church and kind of figure out what we want to do. And we've had enough people on this podcast at this point that have, where it's turned into a similar conversation, about faith and and God and everything. And so it's just like I've had too many smart people I know recommend that this is the way to go for me to ignore it at this point.
Right. And we've had some really good conversations. People come on sharing their journey through it, and it's it's been something that's really been eye opening for both of us. I mean, I wasn't raised in the church. My real first dose of it was when I was down in Springfield, and it's very heavy down there, being in the heart of the Bible Belt, and a couple of my teammates from college were from Springfield, and every Sunday they were in church, and they kept like, "Hey, come on, come with us," like not pushy or anything like that. And eventually we went. Now, it did kind of leave a bad taste in my mouth just because of, you go in there, and the guys that I knew were excellent human beings. They lived and they practiced what they were preaching. But I'd go in there and you'd see all these people that were warming up a pew on a Sunday,
Yeah.
and then you see them out doing things that you're like, well, that's not very, very godlike. That's not very and then and then the other thing too was like, you got people standing on the corners. Like if you're out and about, on a Friday night, oh, you're a sinner, you're going to hell, things like that. So it was just, you got a wide range of what you saw down there. And it was just kind of like, you know what? I'm just going to take a step back from this and try and figure this out at a later time in my life, because this just isn't for me right now.
Yeah. It makes sense. You got imperfect people that are not only allowed, but encouraged to come to church. All of us.
Right. Exactly. Well, that's the thing is you should be, but if you're going to sit there and for me, like, you're going to sit there and act like this and then come out, then, just catch you doing lines of coke in the bathroom and then come back and be like, oh, you need to go to church on Sunday. Like, see you do this repetitive pattern every week. Then, you know what? I don't need to go to your church.
Yeah. About 15 years ago, I went on a retreat. I don't go on many retreats, but they're impactful. So, being together with a group of guys, say 30 guys, and I know what different ones do, and I know about their family, and I'm like, holy cow! Like some of these guys are really, really successful, and then they share a little bit about something broken about them and something they're overcoming, and I'm like, all of us have something.
For sure.
That,
Yeah.
I'm not unique in my struggle.
No.
It says it in the good book. You're, all things common to man. But when you hear individuals that and some pretty good, and I got this thing I'm working on, or I've had this past struggle that's still eating me up, or all that type of stuff. So that was crazy to see, like in your church experience. In theory, they're all perfect, and then you find out that there's some pretty broken people.
Right. Well, and I know that nobody's perfect.
Yeah.
Nobody's perfect. And that's the thing. It was just kind of the, like, hey, I don't know, like the way they would talk down. Like I know how you're living your life, and you're acting like you're this perfect person, but I know you're not. And you're going to use this as a way to talk down to me because I'm the one that's not going, but I'm clearly living my life in a way that's more aligned with what the Bible teaches than what you're living your life by. And so it was just one of those things where I'm just like, I need to find, I'd either just need to not go to church down here and kind of get away from this and find something else. But yeah, it's just, it left a bad taste in my mouth for a long time. And, like Zach said, we had some really good guests, people that are way smarter than both of us that talk about their experiences with it. And it's just really opened my eye. I mean, I think it was probably last October or November. So not very long ago that, I cracked it open and started reading it. Like, I'm just going to, I'm going to read this cover to cover. Like, I know that's not how you're supposed to read the Bible, but I'm going to do it this way and kind of just work my way through it. And so it's like a weight's been lifted.
Yeah. I remember before I had read the Bible, and people would say, "Oh, it's in the Bible." It's not, I'm like, I don't think it is. And now, having read it cover to cover a few different times, I'm like, all right, I can speak with a little bit more conviction about
what's in there.
I don't think that's in there.
Yeah.
Right. I must have breezed over that chapter.
Must have glazed over on that part.
And a lot of the times it's...
Must have read that part right before bed, right before I was falling asleep or something.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of times they'll take a Bible verse and then they'll twist it a little bit.
Sure. Yeah.
And it's like, once you've paid attention and looked for that type stuff, I'm like, here's where that lie came from that people say is true.
Well, having been someone who's read it multiple times, if someone was to get wanting to get started reading the Bible, how would you recommend they do that?
I'd go to John and just read the Gospel of John.
Read the Gospel of John.
Yeah, and and if you're reading it, before you start reading it, say, hey God, talk to me, help me understand this. Go from there. So yeah, it's a pretty simple gospel to read. Got some great stories in it.
And there's Bibles now, like the one I have, actually, if you go to the back of the Bible, it's got all 365 days of the year listed out, and it's got 5 different passages from different parts of the Bible that all kind of relate to each other for people to help read through it. I could do that, but I'm like, let's just cover to cover it.
Just leave my bookmark here and pick up where I left off.
Yeah, you got to get some coffee and some motivation to get through Leviticus and Numbers and stuff.
Yeah, there's a few of them there that
I was grateful somebody warned me about Leviticus before I got there.
Well, thanks for the warning.
Is that one just like a hard one to read?
That one's a hard one to read. Yeah.
Okay, good to know. I'll remember that when I get there.
Yeah, that's I'm gonna have to go home and mark that chapter. Just power through or write it in there. Just power through.
Just power through. Yeah, just get through it once, and then later you'll be able to realize why some of the stuff is in there. First time through, it didn't make sense to me.
Okay, it's good to know.
Well, you mentioned, people having, talking about their flaws and things that they're going through or things that they're dealing with. Can you think of, something that you've struggled with, like in the realm of business or, or even with relationships that you've struggled with, that you've now overcome?
Yeah, a big one for myself, but also for quite a few people, men especially, is just pride. When you think it's all up to me, maybe I'm the greatest or whatever it is. And then when you peel it back and go, oh, that was some flawed thinking there. A lot of times it's without having good guys around you. In the Bible, it says wise counsel. But if you don't have guys that you're talking to that you respect, that are good at certain things, that can point out when you're going in a direction. Somebody's joking with me about something I say all the time. Here's what a conversation with Dan sounds like. Have you considered? I thought, yeah, I use that all the time.
That's one of my favorite phrases. Have you considered?
Well, I'm curious too. Maybe you got your reticular activator. So when you're going to buy a car and you're like, oh, I want to buy this car, then you start seeing that car everywhere.
Everywhere.
So I don't know. Are you noticing this, or is it just because I'm so new to this that now things like this are becoming more? I'm becoming more aware of this. But have you seen an increase or uprising within faith and religion activities? I mean, I feel like you're starting to see more movies come out around it. More and more on social media, you're starting to see more and more people posting and being open about their faith and their religion. Now, is that something that's been going on, or have you noticed an uptick in that as well?
Not only have I noticed a huge uptick, but recently we were asked to be involved and ended up getting to be in the movie Soul on Fire.
Oh, really? You were on it? You were in it? Wow.
Yeah, we were
That's
in that.
awesome.
So I was joking around on Facebook the other day. Somebody's like, hey, what should we watch? And somebody mentioned that movie. And I was like, hey, I was in that movie with William H. Macy and Joe Courtney. And
I was in a movie.
I was in it for about 1 second.
Maybe that's how I recognize you. My boys love that movie.
Oh, good. I'm glad you guys saw it.
We've seen that movie.
I haven't seen it yet.
Oh, it's good.
I've heard
We've
it's great.
seen it. I think we've probably watched it 10 or 15 times. My boys, every time I have them, they're like, Dad, can we watch Soul on Fire? I'm like, sure, why not? Let's go for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a good movie.
So many good lessons and everything in that movie.
Yeah.
I'm just so grateful I got to be involved with it and got to kind of experience the making of it and be on set for certain scenes and talk to the actors and directors. And I got to know the O'Leary family really well. So, yeah. So, yes, because they're an uptick. Well, we're here in St. Louis, Missouri.
Right.
The no movies filmed here.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we have a faith-based movie filmed here in St. Louis, which is to me crazy, and have A-list actors come in from across the United States. Oh my gosh, like just crazy. We had Kirk Cameron come in a while back
Really?
here to St. Louis.
Was it
and-
Growing Pains?
Yeah,
Was it
Growing Pains.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he was doing this thing called the Campfire Revival.
Okay.
And that was a big point of what he was talking about when he was here. He's like, hey, there is a revival happening. Like, we want to talk about how bad all these different things are. He was, but if you look, this revival thing, there's sparks, there's embers, there's fires all over the place right now. This wasn't happening 10 years ago. I'm like, I don't feel like it was happening 10 years ago either. Like, there's definitely a movement right now. So Kirk came on the podcast. So
Oh, that's cool.
my wife was super happy about that.
Now, what do you think has caused this uptick? Do you have any insight?
So just how the world has worked for, thousands of years, you have problems and then you turn and look for a solution.
Uh-huh.
So,
Yeah.
if you look at any news or listen to any news or click on any social,
Try not to, but yeah.
yeah,
Stay away from
yeah,
it.
you see there's some strife out there. And so people are looking and they're trying to figure it out. That movie Jesus Revolution that came out not too long ago, we got to kind of be involved in, I don't say the making of that one, but we had to watch an early edition of it.
Is that what the guy? It's based out in California. He
Yes.
looks like Jesus, and he's got this
Mhm.
following. And I saw that movie too.
Yeah. Turned out really good,
Mhm.
based on the hippie culture. And
Mhm.
so they were going through stuff, Vietnam and all that. And they were trying to try out sex, drugs, and rock and roll and find the truth.
Mm.
And in the movie, it talks about reaching the end of sex, drugs, and rock and roll and deciding that the truth wasn't to be found there. And then all those hippies switched over and started believing in the Bible.
And do you think maybe one of the positives to come from COVID, because people weren't able to go to church, so now you're starting to see more churches going to the live streaming and things like that. Do you think that might have, or that has played an uptick in it?
So the live streaming was a result. What the big change was, I believe, in COVID was we were shut down and in our house. So we had to deal with things in our own house.
Mhm.
We had to deal with our own time and space and
Yeah.
our own thoughts more than we used to. There was a lot less noise in our house than when we have traffic and places to go and people to see and all that. And in addition to that, I don't know how many times people ask you guys, hey, is the world going to end? Do you remember getting those questions?
I never got if the world is going to end, but it was like, can people still go buy houses right now? Like
Yeah.
those are the
Yeah,
kind of
right,
questions I
right.
got. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, like, can we go to? Can we do an open house? Those kind of questions. Like, can we go look at a house? Yeah.
If we do, am
yeah.
I going to die?
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah. I mean, well, I feel like I never felt like the imminent death present. Oh, because I guess I knew several people that had gotten it and gotten over it pretty easily.
Yeah,
So I was
yeah.
like, well, okay, must not be that bad. I know him, and he's not in the best health and mind, and he didn't seem to bother him too bad. And I'm take pretty good care of myself. I'm pretty confident that me and my wife will be all right. So I never felt like death was imminent, but I was just like, I just wanted the world to turn back on.
Yes,
Right.
yes. So through that, a lot of people had just somber feelings, sad feelings, just emotion. Quite a few people reach out to me and ask about the end of the world or, hey, biblically, like, these are all the signs. Like, it's happening, right? Like, this month or next, like, it's coming quick. And so for anybody who's had those thoughts of, just look at the current news now with all the wars and the different things. Is the world ending? Like, well, the answer is it's in the Bible. Jesus told the disciples, hey, the world's going to end soon. Like, the end is near. 2,000 years ago.
Yeah, what soon is a relative thing,
Mhm.
I mean,
Humans invented the calendar and the clock and all that. So our time versus God's time, according to God's time, the end is near.
Mhm.
Right. Near could be,
Yeah.
a million years from now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
we don't
for
know.
everybody that's trying to predict or tell or, all those type of things, like, it also says we won't know. Be prepared, but you won't know.
One of the things I know that, talking about the beginning, how I mentioned, priorities and how I'd been through, so I've been divorced and a lot of that stuff. And when it comes to prioritizing your work, your marriage, kids, faith, and health, those were things that, I prioritized in the wrong way. And it resulted in things that led to our marriage falling apart and getting divorced. What order do you feel actually works in real life?
So what didn't work was the order that it sounds like you had.
Yeah, no, it was a
'Cause
terrible,
Because
terrible
I had
order.
I had that also.
Yeah, it was a terrible order. Yeah, definitely.
Back in the day, my order was how much money did I make, and that was the scoreboard.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
same.
And there wasn't a different measurement. That was it.
It's an
That was-
easy. Well, it's an easy scoreboard because
I-
there's literally a number associated
Well,
with
that
it. You can watch it go up and you can watch it go down.
being, it being the man of the family and the breadwinner of the family, like that was, for me, that was my validation. That's where I felt I brought the most to the family.
Mhm.
Was what I brought in income. I didn't which is a completely terrible way. Now I know that I've learned from that is a terrible way to look at things. And that my focus was, all right, how much can I provide monetarily to my family? Not how much can I provide in quality time and teaching my children and being around and spending quality time with my wife and things like that. My for me, all I was good for was bringing money in so that my family could live a life that we wanted.
Yes.
And it was terrible. And now, obviously, looking back on that is completely wrong, terrible. My ex-wife very clearly pointed that out to me, and so, but no, it was a learning experience. But yeah, I mean, so yeah. So what was yours?
Yeah, so it sounds very, very similar, other than my wife didn't divorce me, but I
Mhm.
certainly didn't treat her. The word I picked up over the years is priority.
Mhm.
Another word I picked up was cherish. So if I can cherish and prioritize her daily, and if she was the one scoring, whether I cherished and prioritized her, not my score, but her score. So everybody's got their own way of receiving love. And so I had to uh, put that up, not the top, but almost the top.
Right.
So God, family, business, and then family, spouse is the one. Kids are next. Modern society, usually it's kids first, and then spouses after that, maybe 20 down the line. Whatever other things were important, but spouse is the number one thing inside of the family. God first. So
What are your thoughts? Because this is something that I've always thought is you know kind of the air mask on an airplane. Take care of yourself first,
mhm.
so you can show up for the show up for the best way possible. Then it filters down from there.
Yes.
Is that so? Would you say that you got your religion and faith is
Mhm.
number one, then you yourself should be number two, and then your wife, then your kids, just that way, because like if you're not putting yourself first, it's hard to fill from an empty cup.
True. And so it's not necessarily a matter of putting her first, putting you
Mhm.
first. It's just
Making
prioritizing
yeah.
yourself also. So, people that, can God make a rock so heavy you can't lift it? Okay,
Gotcha.
great. Her first, me first.
Right.
Okay, great. Like, it doesn't matter.
Matter.
The point is, are you prioritizing her?
Dude, I swear I turned it off. You saw me turn it off.
Yep.
You did. You did.
I did. I
You
mean, I
did.
don't understand.
So these are
It's-
the
it's
things
on
that
Do Not
happen
Disturb.
in
That's not-
life and in business.
Yeah.
All three of us saw.
I know.
Keeping it rolling.
I don't know what is with my things. I turn it on silent. I turn on Do Not Disturb. Literally turn the volume all the way down.
So the producer's going to get all over.
Yeah,
him
sorry,
again.
Murph.
That's why
Anyway.
mine's on silent. So even if it does ring, you're not going to hear it. It'll just vibrate.
I mean, it normally just vibrates.
Mm.
I swear, it's just like
So
anyway.
for your question about which is first, like you can look and see what are you doing for yourself, what are you doing for your wife, and how are you leading in that way? Are you setting up date nights, date days,
Mhm.
individual time and attention for her? So I don't know. That's one or the other. It's both.
So it coincides with one another.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
100%. It's probably you versus why.
Yeah.
In reality, but
Right.
when you're putting it on a board and measuring it, it's like, it doesn't matter. Like that
Okay.
one's, your equals. And really, two is one. So, biblically, two are one. So you and your wife are really one
One.
person, come together through marriage. So
Yeah.
Well, how did becoming a father calibrate the way you think about legacy versus achievement?
yeah, that was a big, big deal. I remember I used to be friends with a NFL cornerback. So if you've ever seen an NFL cornerback on TV or ever seen a high cornerback draft pick coming out of college, they've got a big attitude, lots of pride.
Yeah, man, they're one of the baddest dudes out there.
Yeah.
Fastest and also can hit. I mean, they're everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they talk
Some of the best,
smack.
some of the best athletes in sports. I would argue are cornerbacks.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like physical specimen wise, like who can run the fastest, jump the highest, lift the most weights, hit the hardest. Like I would put cornerbacks up there with just about any of them.
So I closely knew one of those guys for a really, really long time. And he was one of the biggest ego guys in the NFL. And he had a child way before me. And I said, hey, man, before kids, after kids, your kid's like 6 months old now. He goes, man, I'm a completely different person from the time my son was born. Like I think about others now. I'm like, well, that's true. You only thought about yourself before. He goes, this is everything now. I'm like, yeah, much more closer to everything. I'm like, you still have the pride, you still have the ego, but you're down a notch from where you were. You're seeing things in a completely different way. So yeah, that thought is, now you've got your own little accountability partners at the house. Am I leading them where I want them to go? Do I have the playbook? Do I have the plan? Do I have the actions that I would want them to instill into themselves? Because whatever we do, that's what our kids are going to become. What we can talk about is one thing, but that's not what's going to change, and that's not what our kids are going to model themselves after. So, yeah, tons of thoughts, especially when they were younger, about am I doing this right? Where are my priorities? Still to this day, there's certain things I think messing this up, and I can't quite shake it.
How old are they?
Mine are now 13 and 12, both daughters.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, I've got a 6 and 7-year-old, and I'm like constantly messing these kids up.
Guys with the Irish twins.
Yeah. That's a tough chapter.
Yeah. I'm sure.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, a friend of mine, he's got a thing called the Legacy Letter, and that was really, really cool. He just was on Necker Island with Richard Branson.
It's a legacy.
So his dad died when he was with a family vacation in Hawaii. He was about 20 years old. They went out. His dad says, hey, you want to go out for one last swim before we head in? Oh, nothing I want more than to go swimming with you, just me and you, without the rest of the family. Like, this would be great. And the waves were coming in, and they went into this place called like Witch's Brew or Witch's Cauldron, which they didn't know, but it was a place that other people had challenges and had died at before. Like
Oh,
it
wow.
was the place you don't go.
Yeah.
That was where they went. And his dad was also an NFL guy,
Really?
drowned and died.
Oh my gosh.
Didn't drown and get revived. He drowned and died. I'm seeing him as they pulled him out. He's like, I couldn't get my huge father, big muscle guy.
Yeah.
It's like I finally had to give up. Somebody else jumped in and got him out. He's like, I'm watching him resuscitate him, and I'm like, any second he's gonna cough some water out and things are gonna be good again. But that didn't happen. And then after the hospital, after he was pronounced dead, they were back in the hotel, and his mom came over and goes, hey, your dad wrote this letter for you. And it was a letter telling him what his dad thought about him, what he hoped his future would be, and told him he loved him, and just everything was in this letter. And so now he travels around the world showing guys how to write this letter and, kind of unpacking what receiving a letter like that meant to him,
Yeah.
and how he still goes back to it to this day for direction and guidance from his dad.
Oh, I've been doing something like that since the boys were born. My business coach had
Nice.
told me to do that. Like I started it with my second one because, 2 kids in less
Mhm.
than, they're 15
Right.
months apart. And I was freaking out. I'm like, I got this one that I'm obsessed with and in love with. And I'm like, how am I going to have enough room in my heart to love another one? So my business coach just challenged me. I want you to write a letter to him and tell him that. And so I've been doing that every year since they were
Oh, that's super cool.
Since my second, and then once they turn 18, I'll give it to them, or who knows, maybe I'll keep it going until later in life. But yeah, it was something that I started years ago.
You do that on their birthdays?
Every year on their birthday, I write a letter to them and just save it.
Cool.
So
Yeah. Well, another thing, and you have it as well, is I mean, you've got the podcast. I mean, as
Yeah.
cool
Yeah.
as a legacy thing, like that is, I mean, that's something I look at with this all the time is like, you know, if, I mean, Pat and I've talked about it many times, you know, if anything were to ever happen to either of us and, you know, God forbid, but our kids would have hours and hours and hours to watch of their dad, which was, I mean, which is something, I mean, I would love to, if I could go back and watch video. I mean, my dad's still alive,
Yeah.
but I would love to go back and see what my dad was like in his early 30s.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
You know, like
yeah.
that'd be so cool, so interesting to like, oh wow, like there's dad, you know,
and
40 years ago,
right?
or
'Cause
30
it's
years
not-
ago now.
and like we can ask him about it, but it's not going to be the same because he's not going to really recall that. And my dad's 74 years old.
It is so funny how when you talk to 74-year-old guys or, hey, you know, what was life like when you were a kid? Oh, it was good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
How do we get from it was good
Yeah.
to, or it was,
Dad,
was
imagine
okay,
you're on a
or-
podcast with me and I need you to expand
Yeah.
on this. Like,
Man.
I want you to talk, Dad. You could chat. You could talk to a brick wall for hours. But I'm asking you about this point in time in your life, and all you have is, oh, it was good. Come on.
Yeah, come on, give me a little more.
Yeah, it's like magical when your parents share and you get like that vivid detail of a memory that they have.
Right.
I'm like, ah,
On the other hand, I mean, like, I think maybe it's just a guy thing, but like, anytime I sit down with my grandmothers, both of them are still alive, and I actually had lunch with my grandma yesterday. I mean, she'll tell you stories from. I mean, that's all we did yesterday. She told me many stories about just time, and I've, you know, she's repeated a few stories
yeah,
over
of
the years.
course.
But I mean, she surprises me with new ones all the time, which is like crazy, you know. And it's just I love hearing those stories about, you know, when she was younger, or when, you know, when my mom was younger, and hearing how life was, because it just sounds vastly different from how life is today, but also similar.
Yeah.
You
yeah,
know, like there's
right.
definitely similar things. But I mean, for example, yesterday she was also a real estate agent at one point, and we're just talking about just the amount of time I save now, just
Oh my
because of our
gosh, yeah.
phones, because of digital signature, because of all these all these conveniences. Because I was thinking, like, how much of my days would I be spending driving around just to get things signed? Like
Yes,
it would be,
yes.
I would spend so much time in the car just driving to people's houses to have them sign things. And then, you know, she's like, well, you know, then you'd have to wait around by the phone. You can't leave the house because you're waiting for a call, and, you know, all these things. And, you know, it's just something we're so far removed from now. I mean, I'm old enough to remember life without cell phone. I mean, I got my first cell phone in high school, but it was, you know, I mean, but I remember having to call the house phones growing up, and, you know, having the long cord, and just, I remember,
Yeah.
like, I remember when dial up internet, you know, you had to listen
Yep.
to, you know, like I remember that. I'm old enough to remember that, but even, you know, before that, it's just, it got even more primitive. And excuse me saying primitive, but I mean, I don't know how else to say it. It's just crazy to see how things have changed.
Yeah, my 8-year-old says, Mom and Dad, when she was 8, my youngest, when she was 8, she says, Mom, Dad, what did you guys do when you were kids? You know, is it true you didn't have internet? Like what you just said, it makes it sound like you didn't have internet. Like we didn't have internet.
Yeah, we
like,
didn't.
not just when we were little, but when we were big. Like,
Yeah.
it's like, this is fairly new. And she goes, no, there's no way. Like, how'd you guys live?
Yeah.
And there's a pause, and she goes, I got it. You guys had Wi-Fi.
I got it. I figured it out. Yeah, you guys are streaming Netflix,
Yeah.
you know? Yeah. You just watched, you know,
Yeah.
binging TV shows, and yeah. So. You had a VHS player, and you had to rewind it before you took it back
Took
to
it back.
Blockbuster.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
Blockbuster. I remember the Blockbuster Friday nights, you know, going up there and renting a couple movies. That was the coolest thing.
I remember my parent, like they told me, so they started dating in the 80s, and they had both been previous married. So, you know, they're, you know, see, this is like 80. They met. Well, my dad, you're from St. Louis, right?
Oh, yeah.
So, you know, Tom's Bar and Grill.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So that was
Yeah.
my dad's spot. So he had an apartment, or he had a condo in Central West End. And so, but again, no phones. He didn't have a house line either at this time. And so people, whenever they needed him, they would just leave messages at Tom's
Tom's.
Bar and Grill for him.
That's so funny.
Yeah. So, because they knew that he was there every day.
They knew he was coming in
Yeah.
at some point.
At some point, he was going to be at Tom's. So he would show up and they would just have like a stack of handwritten notes, messages for my dad. And most of the time, it was my mom
Trying to get a hold of
and
him.
when they were like, hey, like, hey, we'd love to see you. When are we going out on a date or anything like that? But like to take it back even further. So my mom's mom, she lived to be 100. She died in January of 24. And
Okay.
we were out there. I went out in 2023 twice to see them because she was sick and all this. And we're like, oh, we don't know how much longer she has. And so I went out in February and I took my boys with me. And while I was out there, my family's always talked about these letters that my grandpa wrote my mom when he was serving in the war. And so I was like, I want to find these letters. I found them. Hundreds of
Wow.
letters. It's incredible. And like, I was trying to like, what I was going to take them and like get it put into a book
Yeah,
and all this.
yeah.
Obviously, like it's so old that we got to be careful. Like all these, and it was incredible, but like found them and started reading them and like the dates and like the corresponding letters that went with each one just to see like, how easy it is for us to just send a text message
Yeah.
and get a response
Yes,
within
yes.
seconds. My grandpa was writing letters and not getting a response for like a month. And like just to read his words and the love that he had for my grandma and just like, it was like, I mean, pretty romantic and things like that, the things that he was saying and going about and like talking about his life and while serving. And I'm just like, this is incredible. Like, I'm glad that I found that we have those because
Yeah.
they thought they were lost. I'm like, fuck that. They're not lost. I am finding these letters. And I found every single one of them.
That's so cool.
It was like, oh, shoot. I want to say it was like 5 or 6 years worth of letters that they were sending back and forth monthly. Sometimes he would send like, there would be like he would send like one a week and then he would get like, and then it would just be trails back following it from letters from my grandma. It was awesome.
That's really cool with the letters that you're writing to your kids now.
Yeah.
Yeah. And for the record, you might not have seen it on video. You definitely didn't hear it on audio. He's wiping his eyes right now.
Oh, yeah.
I only point that out
that's a normal-
because
That's a normal thing.
yeah.
Pat's been known to shed a couple tears on the pod.
What can I say?
Except for me, I'm over here.
I'm not afraid of crying a little bit. Yeah, tear up a little bit on certain things.
Yeah.
It seems like there's always something every episode that kind of makes me tear up a little bit. But yeah, that's for sure. When it comes to my kids and stuff like that, for sure.
yeah. So
I'm over here stone cold.
make those memories.
Yeah,
Put things down in a way that like your letters. Like that's fantastic.
yeah.
Yeah.
I highly recommend it to anyone. Whether you haven't done it yet, I would recommend starting.
So check this out. So their grandkids one day might read those.
Yeah.
So your great grandkids might read those
Right.
one day.
Right, and then have the corresponding videos of all
Yeah,
of this.
of you talking
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah. Exactly.
Remember episode 225, whatever it was, and
Look at Grandpa tearing up about these letters.
he's crying again.
Yeah. Yeah. So no, it's something that I'm glad I started. And when people ask new dads or whatever, when they come in, I said, the coolest thing that I ever did was write letters to my kids. And I still write letters to my kids. So that's usually the one piece of advice. Or I'm like, I'm not even going to give you advice because every kid's going to be different. You don't know what's going to happen. But the one thing I will tell you is if you can, and you're creative enough, or you want to spend the time to do it, write your kids a letter before they're born with the concerns that you have about it. And then you can address it every year after that.
And there's something therapeutic about just writing things
Yes.
out, and that's something I've gotten back into since the beginning of this year. I've been getting back to journaling every day, and that's just been it's not a long. I literally set a 6-minute timer, and that's all I do. But and I do it right here on this iPad, and I can write a good amount of paragraph in 6 minutes. But every day I kind of try to do a different little prompt, or sometimes I'll use the same prompts and talk about how I'm feeling that day, or what do I need to do today to, make today a good day, or it's just simple things like that. But just writing those things out, I feel like there's a therapeutic aspect of it, of just like putting
Same.
your thoughts on paper,
Yeah, 100%.
or not paper, but
Yeah. clarifies your thoughts, get you to,
right.
move a direction.
And I think it unlocks a part of your brain that, we typically are not using as much, and can start just that creative side of things.
Something a buddy of mine did a while ago talking about creative and unlocking things. So when a lot of guys plan, we write things. We maybe do some charts or measurements or stuff.
Yeah.
Instead, he took a big whiteboard and just started drawing circles and putting words in them about his life. Maybe a bigger circle for this, smaller circle for this, drawing little lines, connecting different things. And I'm like, that's stupid. He's like, oh, you should give it a shot. And so I did. And this is actually really, really cool, thinking about every different aspect of my life. And the circle, how much time I wanted to spend there versus how much time I was spending there. And like, And then I started seeing how connected different things were. And like family, faith, fitness, activity, friendships, business. Like, oh, cool. We should do more of this because it hits a whole bunch of different areas. And it gave me clarity of things that I would do that I didn't need to. Like, I can just save the time on that and move it into this other space because this only fills a small bucket. Or maybe it's worthless. And being able to do that in a creative type way instead of a planning type way allowed me to help process quite a few things, and I don't know, made life better than like a vision board, that type thing, in just a different way. So
it's almost like a Venn
mind
diagram
mapping
of your life.
Yeah, mind mapping. Yeah, that's exactly what we call it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm familiar. Yeah.
Apparently other people call it that too.
Yeah. I did that a few years ago when I first got into real estate, and I definitely would like to do it again now. Just a lot of things have changed.
Yeah. You
Years,
knew what you knew back then,
right.
and now you know what you know now, and it's like, wow, those were such basic thoughts I was having back then.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah. I'm like, it's just crazy how we just get we just learn how much we learn over time, and I was talking about this yesterday with my grandma. It's like, I graduated high school 15 years ago now, and I don't feel that much different, like in my head, but I know, I feel like I'm the same person, but I just feel like I've grown so much since that. Like, I feel like I'm the same, but I've also grown so much,
Mhm.
like I'm still the same. Like, I still have a lot of the same thoughts, but like, I know how to handle my emotions better. I know how to, I understand when I'm feeling this way. I know I've learned these tools to deal with things, and oh, I've dealt with this before now. Like, I can address it this way. And it's just like, it's just cool how we gain knowledge over time like that. And, things that were problems 15 years ago are not even considered problems now,
Yeah.
It's just cool how we grow like that. But I kind of want to go back to, it was something you said there reminded me that you were affiliated with this, but when we were talking about the Bible and groups of people, you said it was a council of goodness.
Wise counsel.
Wise counsel. Thank you. So you said, you should spend time around wise counsel, and it sounds like you're affiliated with some, high performing groups like F3.
Yeah, absolutely.
We've had
F3.
several other guys in here, that have been a part of, their own little, I guess you call them chapters or however they do it. But what do you think, how important do you think it is being in like parts of communities like that?
It's incredibly important. So what guys tend to do, we get married, we have kids, we have jobs, we earn money somehow. Our kids, turns out, get into activities and do things which require us to drive and pick them up and maybe sit on the sideline with people we want to be on the sideline with, or people we don't want to be, or people that are also on their cell phones just clicking on things, waiting for the time to be over so they can leave. Where when you can be involved in groups, and for guys that are listening, if you can be involved in men's groups specifically, gives you a chance to connect with others, and that wise counsel is just around you all the time. So in my particular group that I'm most regularly at, we've got a chief of police who's there. We've got a CPA who's there. We've got some business owners that are there. We've got a guy who's a sanitation worker who is there. He's the guy that comes by with the truck on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So all different, occupations, industries,
Walks of life,
kids of all ages, divorces and just things. And like, hey, I got this going on. and you never know who's going to speak into that and, help you through something or help you think differently or get you outside of your prideful thought or whatever it is. So, um, I don't know. We'll see if I go do the polar plunge on Saturday, but all the guys are going to go do that
Where's that at?
to be uncomfortable in Lake St. Louis.
Oh,
Okay.
woo.
Not at Lake St. Louis, in
In
Lake
St. Louis. Woo, man. You got to
In
break
the
that
lake.
ice to get in there today, huh?
Yeah.
In the lake, 12 to 5, raising money for Special Olympics.
Woo.
Okay.
Yeah. Have you done cold plunges before?
I've done cold plunges before. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I've done cold plunges before. I've
Makes
gone,
that 50-degree tub in the back we've got seem warm.
Yeah. Yeah. We've got a cold plunge in the back here and it's 50 degrees.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that's cold enough for me.
Yeah.
I've jumped off boats into 50-degree water to go skiing,
Okay.
go water skiing. And wow.
Yeah. Yeah. No, thanks.
It takes all the breath out of you.
Oh, well, that Lake St. Louis water is probably going to be.
Oh, it's going to be, yeah.
even
Colder.
colder.
Yeah, it'll
Yeah,
probably be,
it's gotta be
just above
36 or
Yeah, it's going to
something,
be,
yeah.
just a couple of degrees
Just
above
above.
freezing.
I would rather jump off and into as opposed to walk into.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I didn't even think about that because that's
Yes.
got to be so much worse walking into it. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
Instead of just dropping and you're in it, Because
Yeah.
that's what I always, that's what we've kind of discovered here is I feel like it's a little, I think it's easier than like if you sit in the tub and immediately like go all the way under versus like just sitting down to like your chest or whatever. Just 'cause it's like, anytime you walk into a cold pool or whatever, when you finally just go all the way under, you just feel so much better. It doesn't feel as cold for some reason.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, having to slowly walk in from ankle deep to neck deep would be like a brutal walk.
Yeah, it helps me though because usually half the water spills out once I. So it's not as bad. It's not as much of a cold plunge for me just because I get in there and half the water spills out. So I'm like, oh, this is like, what are you complaining about? This is 5 minutes, no problem. Pat, half your body's out of the water. Isn't that the point?
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. So how long have you been doing F3?
F3 over 5 years.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
It's such a cool, just such
Concept.
a cool concept. I mean, we've had several guys in here at this point that are.
Yeah,
that
what
are-
was I'm drawing a blank on his name. Is the Nantan for here in Fenton. Why am I drawing a blank on this?
Why am I? I am too.
Shoot.
We've had so many people on at
Sorry.
this point.
Nantan's the leader of the group.
Right.
Yes.
Leader
Yeah.
of the group. Yeah. But yeah, we've had him
I can
on.
remember Nantan, but I can't remember the guy's name.
Yeah.
Drawing a blank on his name.
Yeah, I can't remember either. Oh well.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was a good episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've had coaches from the baseball Cardinals,
Mhm.
like people that are at F3 are just amazing.
Yeah, it's just being a part of a community
As a whole.
is so huge. I mean, it's been huge for me. I mean, that's what I get from jujitsu, and
Yeah,
I mean, it's just like you said, it's all walks of life. You've got a very successful lawyer, literally they're wrestling with a plumber, and a sanitation worker and a carpenter's, over there fighting a CPA, and then there's it's like. We got Bill Brown over there.
Yeah, yeah.
He's going with
everybody knows
that
Bill Brown.
Yeah, everybody
Everybody knows
Bill
Bill
Brown.
Brown.
That's how we got in touch.
Yeah.
But
Bill's awesome.
Bill's great, man. He's just such a good guy. I've said to him before, like I look at him like a big brother, because I don't have a big brother, and he's kind of always given me like this kind of big brother, over the last like 6 or 7 years that I've known him. I feel like he's really like. He's always there if I have a question. He just has been through a lot of things, and he just is very intelligent, smart guy that I trust. He has opinions on almost everything.
Yeah, yeah,
He's just a good guy all around.
and humble.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. Oh,
He's got an ego, of course,
we all do.
but he also is humble and genuine, and it's pretty cool.
He's a great guy.
Well, looking back, what mattered more or matters more now? Personal discipline or relational alignment?
I'd say relational alignment for sure. Personal discipline's pretty important, but when you've got relational alignment with God, with your wife, with friends, with wise counsel, like they'll put you back on track. Where if all you got's the discipline, you're focused on the individual and focused on self being able to accomplish, and I can do it all, and then you get stuck in the programming and the tracking and me,
What
not them.
and what does relational alignment look like for you?
As far as
in terms of your relationship with God, like what does your relationship with God look like? What does your relationship with your wife and your kids and your family and all that look like?
ideally, it'd be wake up, read the Bible, pray, get into some fitness, connect with the family as we're doing breakfast before we send them out the door and go to work. Some days it looks like that. Some days it looks like
And the realistic version when life's chaotic?
that. I heard a pope one time talk about that. He says, I guess a pope has a pretty busy schedule and pretty planned schedule. And one of the popes said, I get down on my knees and I pray every day for an hour. And when life's hectic and chaotic, I do it for 2. I don't know how I could live.
Oh,
All right. Yeah. When things are going crazy, you actually take more
Lit-
time away from it.
right into it.
I was like, the Pope can do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can probably at least get 5-10 minutes.
Yeah.
For sure. For
Yeah,
sure.
true.
So yeah, that's one thing I'd say. If you're not doing it at all, or you're doing it here or there, just get like the batting coach tells my kid, I just get 15 swings in. Like that's not very long. I know, but if you get
Something.
15 swings in, maybe you get 100 in.
Right.
But if you don't get 15 in, you don't get any in. You don't get that day's repetition. You don't get that day's practice. So, personal discipline, yes, and the consistency of it, but don't get all bent out of shape and think that you're the only one and all that type stuff.
Dan, this has been awesome having you in here, man. I've really, really appreciated this. This is appreciate your time, and I've really enjoyed this conversation. Before we get you out of here, though, we do end the show the same way every time. So,
Play a little game, call it the tombstone game. Here lies Dan. What's it say on your tombstone?
I'd hope it would say something along the lines of a man who loved and cared for others.
perfect. man.
Perfect.
It's awesome.
It's awesome.
Again, thank you so much for your time and coming in here and chatting with us. And,
Absolutely.
thanks to everybody at home that watched or listened to this episode. If you could, please hit that subscribe button for us. That would help us out a ton. We are, yeah, please hit that subscribe button for us. Hit that like button, share this episode with a friend, and we will see you next time.